Hello everyone, my name is Garib. Thank you for being here, watching my video. I hope they will be useful. It's kind of like a tutorial tips. Today I have like a very important topic. It's about the multi-tenant. Did you hear about the multi-tenant ecosystem? I'm not talking about some kind of like a tenant ID in the column. I'm talking about like a totally isolated database for each tenant. So I have like a one thing to show you guys. There's like a typical flow in the API. This flow is more like a different in my case because I'm trying to like set up the tenant context. So what you see here is like a flow of the requests incoming to our API. I have a middleware which is extracting the tenant ID, and this tenant ID is being set with the AsyncLocal, and it's using a dedicated object for that, 𝘮𝑒𝑛𝑎nt-context. So what is AsyncLocal? AsyncLocal is a .NET type that uses to store like a context data that flows within asynchronous operations. So each flow has own isolated value. It can prevent data leaking between the requests. It basically ensures that values remain consistent across all like async operation. And then the most important part, it's a trade safe, so it's carrying a contextual data through asynchronous operations. And it's very useful. It's very common to implement in such case like correlation ID or like a tenant information, user information, any kind of like context which is need to be shared across different type of the services, any kind of handlers. Let's break down the middleware, how it's look like. So typical middleware here is like extracting tenant ID, it's validating, and then it's storing like in the AsyncLocal accessor context. What is like this context, what he's doing? I have like a typical class which is storing the tenant ID, and through the AsyncLocal, I am like setting up the value. And then this value can be like injected in different services and be reusable. Okay, maybe let's move on and take a look what kind of API I have I prepare for you guys for demonstrate. Okay, this is my typical API. I have like a simple configuration. I'm using Slim Builder to like deliver like a slim common core setup, minimal defaults. Here I have like registered my host service, my DB context. I have like my middleware, and etc. And I believe I didn't do one more thing. I need to fix this middleware. I don't have a logic. I'm gonna use a typical interface for the middleware. I like using this thing because it's making like a more precisely what kind of the thing object it is. And of course we need to inject our stuff there. But before we do it, I'm gonna need to change something. So here's my DB context. This is how looks my DB context. And here we need to be sure that we can make a DB migration. So it means that if we go to the hosted service here, I need to be sure that this it will be triggered without any issues and it will not block my API. So in the most cases, when someone is using like a background service, they are always doing like some kind of delay to ensure that the application finish it, and then I can run this hosted services. But I would present something new. Maybe it's not new, but maybe it's the proper way how to do it. Here in the program CS, you need to do one more thing. In the builder.host, you need to say configure host options, and then here you can say, let's close it. You can say, hey, options, make sure that my background service, if throw exception, it will be ignored. And then I'm going to say, hey, even if API and the background service are like running like in some kind of sequence, I want to be sure that they will run parallel. So it means that there will be no like queue waiting that, hey, the app need to start, and then if the app is start, I need to run my background service. I'm going to be sure that the service is start concurrently and it will be true. So it means that it doesn't matter when API start or it finish. My background service also will be triggered in the same time. Okay, we have it. I need to register my middleware. It's very important because I'm using middleware. So I'm going to say add scoped, and it's called like a tenant. Oh, sorry, not this one. Oh, but I need to also register my like a context. So it's very important. I'm going to add the context as well. So it's like a builder services add scope and I need to say tenant accessor. I'm going to repeat this. Oh, okay, nice. Let's see if we have everything. Oh, by the way, I have an entity. It's very simple entity. It's not like a, very complex boundary context or whatever, and etc. I have a configuration for this entity, and I need to be sure that in the PostgreSQL there's not like a unified GUID. It's like UID, and this is very important. This is like a difference between SQL and typical MS SQL versus like a Postgres. In MS SQL, I would say like this, it's done, but here I need to like be sure that it's UID. Okay, we have everything. Let's see the DB context. I'm logging everything. Okay, for the migration, I need to like do one more thing. I need to be sure that if migration is like configured, so I need to catch like a tenant ID, and then based on tenant ID get the connection string. But also I need to be sure that if not configured, I need to like set up default thing. Here, oh, I'm gonna use it's called like a MPG SQL because it's like for the Postgres here as well. Okay, what we are missing here is like get like a tenant ID, based on that extract the connection string. But first we need to go to our like multi-tenant resolution middleware. Here we just add my proper implementations. I'm gonna say tenant context accessor. It's accessor. I need to say I configuration. Okay, let's add these properties to be reusable in the main function. Okay, sorry, it has been created here. And now what we need to do, we need to create the constant string. No, not, I don't need a logger. I need like a const string. Okay, tenant header name, I would say. So what I need to do is to be sure that the tenant header name is in the request. But what about if the request it's not like it's not like an API, it's not like an external request? What about it's like an internal request, like health check, open API, Swagger, Scholar? So let's bring some kind of like a typical implementation to keep this kind of like extracting the header. So if the context request path start path start with the segment, and I'm gonna say like let's say the health, then I'm gonna say, you know what, I will not do extractions. I don't need to catch and store the tenant ID. I need to run like a next. So I'm gonna say next exactly context and return. So this is like the best way to avoid any kind of internal requests. Just skip them. We can just later add other things. Now let's try grab the tenant ID. Okay. Oh, it's helping me. Nice. So if okay, is empty or null? Basically, it should be opposite. It cannot be empty or null. Then what I need to do, I need like grab the 10. Oh my God, no. Oh, this one is quite good. Basically, I could do the same. So string, maybe it should be like even white space in some cases. And then I'm gonna say var context equals new tenant exactly. Oh, I cannot. That's fine. And then I need to run my accessor, like a context accessor dot current tenant equals tenant context. That's all. I believe we're missing one more thing here. I'm gonna later like create it. So what will happen here? We will like extract the tenant header name. We will just create the context and assign to our like AsyncLocal class. I think everything looks fine. Besides that, we need some kind of like a maybe tenant like a connection resolver, something that is helping us to like fetch from our app settings configuration tenant connection string. And for this, I will need like a static class. I'm gonna create it very fast. Okay, it should be like a static. Then it should have like a public static string. I don't want to have like a tenant ID resolver, and I need to have like a tenant resolve connection string. Exactly. Now it should go with the tenants. Here we should add the tenant ID, but we should make it optional, exactly like this. It's proposing some kind of like a solution, but you know, it doesn't mean that it's proper. So I'm gonna just make a few changes, and I'm gonna keep it like this. Oh, exactly, I like it. What we have here, we have this get section, which should say tenant. I'm gonna check if the tenant section is not null. It's very important. So if this is not null, then we should throw it's null. Sorry. Then we should throw the exception because the tenant section has not been configured exactly. But now when everything is here, I should get just this value because my upsetting configuration is like a key value data. So it means that for the particular key, which is tenant ID, tenant 1, I have this value. So this is connection string. It's to the super base. And let's finish this resolver and resolver. Okay, nice, we have it. So what we would like to do here is we need to use this like a class to validate if the tenant exists. So here I should say tenant resolver. Oh, sorry. Exactly, get exactly like this. So basically what I'm going to say, hey, you know, try to get, even though if we get like a tenant ID, it doesn't mean that's correct, right? It doesn't mean this tenant is supported in our application. There's one more thing. We need to remember that no matter any kind of situation, we need to resolve like the situation when the context has not been set. So to avoid the memory leak and etc., we need to say like clear. So this context should be clear. Let's see what clear is doing. Basically, it's setting up the default value, which is null. Okay. And let's throw the exception. Exactly. Okay. Do we have everything? Let's remove this one. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic. Let's try to make a migration and take a look if our background service is working. Okay, let's run the migration script. Basically, we need to check if the .NET tool is being installed. When you run this like a command, you will see the unicorn of the EF. Before we run the migration, we need to make sure that our like a DB context is properly setting up in the database provider. So it means that we need to catch the tenant ID here from our like a context, then check if there's a connection string. Exactly from then, and then here in this place we should validate if string is null or empty, white space for the connection string, and then we should, if it's like empty, we should throw the exception, which is saying, hey, sorry, you cannot like just send the wrong tenant ID, and you're expecting that we will have the connection string for that. But if it's fine, we should like set up our database provider, and it should be like a progress and database with the options. Exactly. Okay. Now there is one more thing is like coming in my mind, because we need to figure it out. If the tenant ID is null, it means that maybe we are making a database migration. So it means that maybe we should be aware of that, and then we should say if tenant ID is null, okay, is null, then it might be the database migration command which we are running. So it means that I should do something like that. Return. I should basically say, hey, you know, just declare what kind of like a database provider I'm using, and other thing it's not needed. So basically, here is for the DB migration. Case. Okay. So let's test it. Let's run the DB migration and see if it's working. I'm going to use this command like a .NET EF migrations at DB init. So if everything is properly done, it should create our like a DB migration, which should have like this order tables. Let's see if pass. Okay, boom, it's working. Let's see if the table is there. Okay, we have a DB init and the table is there. Okay, now we should test our like background background service. It's true, it's set up. In the background service, host service, I have changed something. So basically, To avoid issues on the middleware level, I need to, in the background service, set up my tenant context. So therefore, I need just to use my tenant accessor context and set up the data. So what it means that this like independent service will make with IntelliJ DB context, but before that he will have like a tenant context. So in this place we will have tenant ID because we set up the accessor context value. Let's run it. I should go to my Supabase project dashboard. So I don't have the tables here. If everything works, we should see the DB migration and entity framework migration table and the order tables. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I have the bug. Let's run everything. It should be fine. Let's wait a bit. Let me see the consoles. It's fine. Oh, migration success. Nice. Let's wait. It should refresh out of the box, I believe, or I need to like refresh the page. Come on. We can do it. Okay, let's refresh the page. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have it. Come on. Let's wait a bit, bear with me. Nice, we have it. Okay, so maybe let's test our like DB context and test our like a middle is working. I have like a very dummy like endpoint get/get. So what I will do, I will just get some empty data from the orders table. Let me run this request. Okay, so we are in the middler. We get the request. It's not /health, so it should go to the next like point in the line 24. It should get tenant ID. Yes, we have it. Then it should set up create the context, the tenant context, and then try to pull out from the our upsetting JSON the connection string for the context. Also within it will validate if the tenant ID one exists. It exists, and we have a connection, and it's we have like a context set up for our other like async away flow request. And then we are moving forward. So it means that this has been success. Oh, sorry, it takes too long. That's fine. Okay, let's add 2 more endpoints and let's set up. Let's try to create the some kind of like an order. So I'm gonna say up map post poison. Okay, I like it. Let me see. Let me see. I need to add this one. Okay. Okay, that's fine. I need also one more endpoint for the get order. So it means that map get and it should be /order. Okay, nice. I don't like this approach. I'm going to change it because it should be as not tracking. Any kind of request of getting data, it should be as not tracking. And of course, we should select exactly like this. But then you need to aware that if there's a lot of data, you need me to add some kind of pagination. I'm going to say take 10 first. That's fine. Okay, we have everything, right? Nice. What we have here, I'm going to change this one. I'm going to say daytime etc now, offset now. Okay, and that's all. Let me see if it's working. Let's run our API. If everything has been properly set up with DB configuration, with entity configuration, and etc., so it should work. Now the background service are already again started, so it means that one request has been like done in the for our context. But take a look. I'm going to set up the back here. So here in this place, when I send a request to create it like order, it will again like invoke this part of the DB context. So it means that again it's going to set up, it's going to fetch from the request tenant ID and will change it will switch the connection string. So I believe is this one. Let's go with this one. Again, you see, we are in the middleware. We set up the context. So again, we don't know what kind of data provider is set. So here we're going to grab again tenant ID. And if tenant ID is null, it is not. So it's not a DB migration, so it's a request. I need to grab the connection string. I have it. And I need to set up everything for my DB context. It's working. So I believe I will get empty data, sorry, array. So okay, let's run again because there was a timeout. Okay, let me check. Exactly. Now let's create some kind of data here. Let's send the request to create the order. Okay, it should work here, here. Boom, it's 500, I mean, it's 200. Yes, we have it. So it means that the next request should give us back this like a data, right? This row, this record. Let me see. Yeah, everything is working. So nice, good job. I believe we are done here. There's one more thing I would like to say. This approach, having like a tenants in the upsetting JSON and storing the sensitive data, which is like connection string, is not properly done. This is not best practice. I don't recommend. This is just for the demo. And the next part, I will show you how you can like integrate key vault with your app setting JSON, how you can populate tenant data here dynamically. So it means that when the key vault get new record, your app will get new record in app setting JSON, and then we will invalidate the data here. I think it will be good part to show you how work with Key Vault Security Manager. And yeah, that's all. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy it. I believe I did a lot of mistake. But yeah, like, subscribe, comment, and follow. Give me some like a comments if you don't like it, what you think, what you would like to have next to like a be breakdown and etc. Thank you. Take care.